Hi. Sorry, it's a bad habit. I shouldn't be gaming while I'm at work, even if I do work in a video game store. How can I help you today? The Quest 2? Yeah, we only have 3 left, actually, so you're quite fortunate. We started with like 200, I think, just yesterday. And yeah, we have one to demonstrate in the store if you want to check it out and kind of get a feel of it. A lot of fun, and of course I can advise on games and something to look into. It's a really fun console, if it can even be called a console. The poster. The poster is from a game called Raid Shadow Legends. It's actually a really cool game. I started playing it just this morning, and said I was playing it on the phone before you came in. Please don't tell my boss, but it was his fault. He told me to take a look at it. What kind of game is it? It can be played on mobile or PC or tablet, which of course is nice. And I guess it depends what you like. It has a lot of RPG elements where you're building like a small group of champions, and the levels of granularity and detail in it are astonishing. It has quite a gothic, almost medieval aesthetic to it. 500 different champions in the game, each with their own different skill sets, and it's cool. You can battle, and if you're like grinding the campaign just to rerun it to find coins and new items, you can set it to auto so that it just plays through the dungeon by itself. But when you're entering a dungeon for the first time, it's quite challenging, and there's a boss at the end of each dungeon, and these things are big, and unless your gear is properly set up and geared, if you're meeting it for the first time, you're probably going to get your behind kicked 6 ways from Sunday. Honestly, here, I'll show you a little bit of it. You're the only one here, and my boss will be happy that I'm promoting a product, I think. Yeah, it's free to download for sure. Alright, so when you come in, you'll see like a basic kind of town setup. But this isn't a city. It's not a boring city builder. You have access to loads of different factions. Each faction has its own set of champions, and you get different tiers, of course. And look at the details of some of these. And these aren't static images. Look at the graining on his body. The sword looks huge, double-handed sword. And I said each champion has its own set of skills. You can go on the campaign, and the campaign is enormous. I said this is where you grind most of your experience and your items. In the arena, you can battle actual players in, which I love. The player kind of picks like a defensive lineup, and you pick like your attacking lineup, and you fight each other. They're playing on auto, and you can play on auto as well if you want, but it makes sense to carefully pick your skills. But let's just start with something quickly. So here you assemble your champions, and again you have the option of auto battling, which I really like, or individually selecting. So here we're on our attack hero. Attacks one enemy, attacks all enemies. So because it's a fairly low level dungeon, we're going to attack everything. And he just annihilates everything because I'm way over geared. I'm way over leveled for this place. And you immediately go to round 2 of 3. I'll put this on auto so you can see it play out. But it's a really chill game, and the levels of depth in this are insane. You can join clans, fight huge bosses. There's even something called Doom Tower coming very soon as a new update. Here, let me exit. It's so much fun. Honestly, I can't stop playing it. As you could see when you came in. But we're actually running a deal this weekend as well with them. Let me give you a little pamphlet. On the pamphlet, there's a URL. If you just pop that in, you'll unlock 100,000 silver coins, a hero called the Executioner, or Champion rather, some clan boss keys, and some items to kind of summon more champions for you. But anyway, as I said, no obligation, but it's a fantastic game, and it's free to check out What harm is there? I am addicted to playing it. So, your Oculus, let me grab a headset for you. Now, these are cleaned, of course, after whenever someone's using them. And this actually comes with the Elite strap. The Elite strap just replaces the stock strap. For me, this little wheel at the back, it just widens. And it just makes it infinitely easier to fit any head. And it's a very comfortable fit, actually. Very, very, very comfortable. And of course, you will notice on the Oculus Quest 1 and Quest 2, there are no wires. For anyone that's played the Vive, I also have HTC Vive at home. These enormous cables are coming out the back of your head, and the play can be quite restrictive. But with the Quest, I can literally go to a field. These are the controllers. And they're perfectly designed, ergonomically speaking. Very comfortable fit. They're light. And there's even a little thumb rest for when you're not playing anything that needs buttons. Something like Beat Saber. Really comfortable. They actually make quite a nice sound. Very well made. These take batteries, actually. But, well, I've had mine since it was released, and I'm still using the same set of batteries. The actual headset itself. The way it operates is, see these little black spots? These are actually cameras. And unlike the Vive, where you have to set up these ridiculous kind of like lampposts, like little kind of cubes on giant sticks, or drill into a wall. The newer Vives I don't think need that. I think they've all went to this kind of wireless kind of camera function. But the Quest was the first to do it, and the Quest 2 perfects it as far as I'm concerned. Again, I was just, before I came to work, in my bedroom. You don't even need that much space for something like Beat Saber, for example. And I'm just like a Jedi, you know? Just moving around, swiping through cubes, playing to some Linkin Park. And, I mean, if you're a Linkin Park fan, they have music and song packs for like anyone you could think of. Honestly, it's and you're burning calories, right? And Lord knows I could do with burning a couple of calories. But they're exceptionally well made. They're sturdy. We offer them in two different price points. There's $299 for the kind of smaller memory, and then the $399 for the larger storage memory. To me, VR games aren't very large. You never find more than, usually not more than a gigabyte or a couple of gigabytes at the very most. Some of the newer games are a little bit larger, but games like VR poker, I was playing poker with my friend last night, my real life friend, a couple nights ago, and it's amazing. You can be like superimposed into to any kind of casino with a beautiful backdrop. We were fishing on VR fishing in Seoul, Korea. Beautiful sunset backdrop, and the microphone in the Quests are crystal clear. I can't emphasize that enough. If you were an ASMR creator, the content is that good. If you had two of them at least, you could do proper binaural. Really, really impressive. And like I said, very well made. And very comfortable. game recommendations. I mean, it depends what you like. Obviously, all the games are online. We're just selling the unit itself. We actually have a bundle that'll give you a code that will unlock bar fights. If you're if you're into that kind of thing, bar fights is quite a simplistic game. I think it's based on like an Unreal type engine. It looks nice enough, but it's literally you just walk into a bar and you're just throwing punches, throwing hands at anyone you want. You get into this huge fight. It's therapeutic. Probably shouldn't be considered therapeutic, but again, it's what you like. Beat Saber for me is an absolute must. It was a huge selling point on Oculus One and Oculus 2. They've increased the resolution, the FPS is higher, and it's just a nice experience. Seamless, no dropouts, no kind of, on some of the previous headsets I've used, you can be moving your arm and the motion isn't picked up in the game and you failed around and it sucks. But that isn't the case again with the Quest. Yeah, I can have one put away for you. It's no problem. I mean, like I said, you are the only person here. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to buy, we'll set the Quest aside so it's safe and secure. A new mouse? A gaming mouse? Or just, okay, are you thinking wireless or... Alright, if it's wired, I've tried to game with a wireless mouse and I just find it, I don't know, I never feel comfortable knowing I could be in the middle of a game and my battery can die. Keyboard I don't seem to mind so much, which doesn't make any sense because you can't really play without a keyboard if it's an FPS, for example, but the mouse I just like to have that threaded connection. If you want wired, you're probably talking to the wrong guy, actually. I mean, I know, but for me, it would be the Death Adder Elite. I've been buying the Death Adders, man, like 20-something years, I think. No, maybe less, maybe like 15 years. I think I got the first in like 2005 or 6, maybe 2006. And I used the same, I think it was the copperback I had. And I liked it so much that when it died, I went and bought a really old copperback. And I liked it so much because I don't like change. Wait, I can show you the... I can show you it because it's plugged into my laptop I have here. This is the Death Adder Elite. And I think this is the 2007 version. Sorry, 2017 version. Button-wise, it has what it needs. Maybe a little bit constrained compared to some of the gaming mouses that are out there with like 18 button configurations, but you also have two beneath the mouse wheel. And the mouse wheel, again, it's very robust, very well made. And of course, all the colors are entirely customizable. I play with a permanent yellow. My keyboard is also a permanent yellow, like a neon yellow, much to my fiance's amusement. But for me, Death Adder Elite, you can't go wrong. It has customizable kind of configurations for different speeds, and I don't think this is considered the best gaming mouse in the world, but for me it has been. A lot of the Logitechs are getting a lot of really positive feedback, but I think it unless you're playing like the absolute elite level, like Grandmaster and Overwatch kind of level or something like that, then probably better to play with what's comfortable for you than what's considered, you know, best in slot. But again, that's a personal preference. I've been stuck with the Death Adders since I found my first one, and I'll be using them probably until they stop making them, if they haven't already. But the 2017 Elite is a really solid mouse, and I think I'm right in saying that the Death Adder, at least as far as up to 2018, was the highest selling branded mouse in history. Doesn't mean it was the best, but the Death Adder as a brand had sold more mouses than anyone else, any other gaming mouse in the world, which for me stands to reason. But again, personal preference. Are you thinking about picking up a PS5 or the new Xbox? Yeah, I haven't decided. I bought a PS4 a couple years back, predominantly for the Final Fantasy VII Remake that I have to admit I didn't like. I think I'm too old. I just didn't like the having kind of to pull off button combinations in real time to fight a boss that, I don't know, I didn't like the combo system. I just, when I'm playing an RPG, I like to take my time. If I want to play an MMO, I'll go and play World of Warcraft if I want to smash buttons together. But for me, Final Fantasy was always a thinking game. What is the best approach to this? Do I want to cast haze? Do I need barrier? I mean, it belongs in, I guess, the gaming meta. You know, modern gaming is very fast-paced, and I'm going to sound like a boomer. It's not to say I don't like fast-paced games. I just would have preferred to see them remake Final Fantasy VII as turn-based. And that's kind of why I like Raid so much, because it's turn-based. Yeah, and it's not even about not having the reaction to play, it's just about a different mindset. I think that they were appealing to a different player base with the FF7 Remake than the original, which makes sense because the original player base, a large portion of which have nothing more to do with gaming from when they first found it. But I think if they were going to be true to a remake, they should have kept it as it was and just really went crazy with the aesthetics and the textures. That's all I wanted. Some voice lines, improved graphics, and it would have been perfect. Instead, they kept the story but changed the entire playstyle. Some people love it, some people don't. But I bought the PS4 for that reason. And in hindsight, it was kind of a waste of money. But I have been, okay. There was a couple of amazing games I picked up actually with the PS4. Let me take them out, hold on. This is available on PC now as well, but Detroit Become Human. And we have this as new or as resale, and it's dirt cheap resale. But if you've never played it, chances are you've heard a little bit about it, but you assume the control of a few different kind of AI robots that are programmed to function as a human being, and they serve in different roles. And you're living in a different world, where a very futuristic world where robots or androids have seen integration into the human world with different levels of acceptance. There's a lot of kind of underlying, almost like racial tension to it that I think that the game explores quite well. And there's a lot of different decision making in the game, which has a real impact to the game's progression. You can lose characters, and the psychological element of it is very well explored. There's what's called ATB, where you have like those kind of reaction moments. If you're old school like me and you played Shenmue, you know what I'm talking about, where you're like in a situation and B flashes up or X flashes up. You've got to push it in a small time frame. And the selection, I think, adds a level of replayability that very few games offer now. So you can play this game for weeks and weeks, and it has a nice feel to it, but it's not for everyone. Some people see it almost as like an interactive movie, which I can get as criticism, but if you're ever going to be replaying a movie or an interactive movie, this would be the one to play. If you want to kind of go way back, this is even pre-PS4. This is PS3 it came out on. The Last of Us remastered. And if you're talking if you're talking historic games that had a monumental impact, The Last of Us set a genre in its own right that a lot of games since then have tried to replicate, if not full-on rip it off. And because the game is quite old, some people don't realize that what they're playing is almost a carbon copy of this game. Again, there's a lot of psychology, a lot of intensity, a lot of jump moments, puzzles, but you're basically two people escaping like a zombie apocalypse almost. Kind of like a zombie apocalypse at least. And it's just, it's very well done. Very, very well done. And I'm glad it's one of the better remasters. But you work your way across various maps and terrains, and there's definitely a heavy emphasis on the psychological. And I think that's maybe why I was attracted to these two games in particular, because there's a strong psychological element to them. And I think when a game is more, and there's nothing wrong with just beat 'em ups or hack and slashes, it's fine. But I've played these games all my life, so unless something is different or new, I'm quite nonchalant about them. There's been a lot of really good games that came out that I didn't get excited about. A perfect example is Red Dead Redemption. I played the newest one and I found it slow and laborious, and it reminded me of the same kind of like clogged up Tomb Raider vibe. The very first Tomb Raider, where you push a button and like 10 hours later your character reacts. I found it too patient, maybe constraining, and I didn't like it. I didn't like Red Dead Redemption. I stopped playing after like 2 hours, which is blasphemy for some people. It just feels slower and laggier than GTA. I love the aesthetics. I love the cowboy and the kind of old kind of pistol style, the old rifles. But the gameplay was just frustrating. It just felt like I was running through a treacle the entire time, you know. It literally reminded me of Tomb Raider 1, with its how your character actually handled with a D-pad or with a keyboard. But we're not here to discuss the merits of Red Dead Redemption. It's a personal taste at the end of the day. But that's something I think that the Quest 2, or the Quest in general, does very well. And VR offers a new way of playing, a new approach to playing, which for long-toothed gamers like myself, it's fresh and it's new, and it's been a while since I felt something new. Of course, there are a lot of good games that came along in the last couple of years that were the same but still very fun to play, like Overwatch. I don't play Overwatch anymore, but when it came out, it was an FPS, but it felt fun. It felt engaging. I felt powerful. Playing Reaper with 2 double shotguns. That's joy. But for me, and maybe you're the same. Maybe you're very young and you're getting into gaming, and then your kind of quotation or your quota of requirements to be fulfilled and happy is a lot smaller, because gaming is a beautiful thing. Gaming can add purpose. It can replace other less healthy addictions. It can give you a place to belong if you've always kind of felt like you were outcast a little bit. And it's also a very large part of my heart. But again, it really depends what you want. Yeah, which quest did you want? Okay, sure. I'll get it boxed up for you, or rather wrapped up for you. We won't be selling you the pre-existing store Oculus. Yeah, for sure. There's all the existing Oculus games actually work on the Oculus 2, or the Quest 2 rather, and they do have new games coming out in development. But I personally am very excited about what the future might hold for VR in general. I was in a meeting over the weekend, a conference call, and they were talking about the future and the possibility of having meetings in VR, like actual meetings. And some of the software that already exists allows you to kind of present slideshows, that kind of thing, in virtual reality, but as a person. Really remarkable. A lot of the things that we had seen in movies is now coming to fruition in VR. And I think that unlike 3D, that kind of makes its comeback like every 20 years, every 10 years, 3D seems to reemerge and it's like all the focus, and then people kind of forget about it. We had a 3D craze like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Everyone had a 3D TV. Now nobody even uses it. That isn't what VR is. VR is a progressive way to play, and more than play, but interact with other human beings. And I'm very excited. I'm actually invested in a couple of VR ETFs. I think there's a lot of growth for virtual reality, and I'm glad to see that you're picking up an Oculus today. Hopefully we'll see more heavily kind of co-op favorite games coming to the VR space soon. Right now it feels more like more of a personal experience, but I think with time the opportunity for wide-scale multiplayer is definitely there, and I'm excited. As a geek and a nerd, I'm really excited to see where this space can develop to and where it can move to, for sure. Yeah, I'll be playing Shadowlands for sure, for sure. Well, the delay was kind of annoying, but I'll be there, and I've been on and off from World of Warcraft for a long time. And it's nice when someone comes in and mentions WoW, because I get to kind of geek out to like a different level altogether. But it isn't what I was hoping it was going to be. It didn't have anything new, no housing. I really like to see kind of boats and shipping in World of Warcraft. And there was a game I used to play called Archeage that had a trade run system where you'd have your own farm and you'd grow your own produce and then bundle it all up to satisfy an order for an NPC. And the further you took your order, the more gold you got paid. And it was just so relaxing just to cultivate your produce, make it up into an order, and just walk or set an amount and walk all the way across the map. And the further you went, the more you got paid. Or if you were really brave, you would load up into your boat and cross the high seas, and just a real feel of adventure. I wish another game would bring in trade packs. Everyone in Archeage, a lot of people in this game Archeage, like trade packs. It was novel and it was fun, and I'm surprised that it's never been incorporated. Black Desert did it, but it was more of like a copy, and I never really played Black Desert to the same extent. But there's a lot of games like Ashes of Creation. They're promising caravan systems and that kind of stuff. So the future's bright. The future's bright for gaming and the RPG scene, and gaming in general looks really strong. And it's nice that the world's finally caught up to what maybe yourself and my friends and I were like way ahead of the curve. Like, we knew gaming was more fun than going out getting drunk. We knew that all along, but the world's now finding this out. And there's a lot of money to be made in it too. But yeah, sure. Let me just round this up for you. Did you want it with the Elite strap? We can add it in for an extra 32. Sure. I would definitely recommend it. Does anyone at home have glasses? Do you need lens protectors? Okay, fine. No worries. Okay. That'll be 350. Perfect. I mean, we accept cash, but like you, everyone pays with a card. Everyone has money, but no one sees money anymore. Right? You just hope that it's in the bank. There you go. Here you go. And they are very well packaged, by the way. Very, very well packaged. Typical kind of Facebook incorporation. Sleek, compact. Do you want your receipt physically, or shall I email it across? Sure. And what's your email address? Good. One other thing I should mention, actually, that you need a Facebook account, a real Facebook account, to use the Quest 2. And it's important to note because I have a friend in particular who flat out refuses to buy one because he doesn't want any link between his gaming and his personal life, which, other than being a bit weird, I can understand. But it's important to note that isn't a problem. If you have Facebook, you just link the account. Very straightforward. But don't try creating a burner Facebook account, because there's a chance you lose all access to the Quest whatsoever. Yeah, it's rare, and obviously customer support can help, but be careful with that. Alright, good. And we're done. There you go. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm so happy to see you today, and it's always so nice to talk shop with someone, you know? It's always good. Alright, thank you. And need anything,